Mark, aka the Nerdy Punk, back again today for a new video. Hope you guys are doing well. Today, got a little bit of a different video here. I got some movie recommendations for you, specifically for those of us who do not like Valentine's Day. So tomorrow is Valentine's Day, of course, February 14th, and I am someone who is perpetually single, so I'm not a fan of Valentine's Day. It's really honestly kind of a rough time of year for me. So I didn't really know that this was a thing. I mean, I knew people like me existed that hated Valentine's Day, but I didn't know that this holiday, if you want to call it, of anti-Valentine's Day exists until I was doing like some deep diving on the internet this year. And I've always kind of liked to put out lists of movie recommendations for Valentine's Day that are a lot less stereotypical. Like, they're not, you know, your standard rom-com kind of throwaway story where everything, you know, always ends up happy in the end. I've always kind of gone for, of course, the more non-stereotypical Valentine's Day movies. The ones that will either make you appreciate the fact that you're single, or will help you relate to others being single, or maybe those that will just kind of let you wallow in your sadness a little bit. So this video goes out to all my fellow single people here on Valentine's Day, and these are 6 great movies that you should check out if you're like me and you hate Valentine's Day. So without further ado, let's get into this. Kicking off the list with the movie that I watch every single year, I think the quintessential anti-Valentine's Day movie, and that is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Of course, starring Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet. I watched this movie for the first time ever, I think it was last year, and instantly fell in love with it. I mean, it's a movie that will definitely hit that wallow in your sadness type vibe, if that's what you're looking for. But it also kind of puts relationships more into perspective, and it's also strangely uplifting in a way, at least for me personally. It really kind of hits home at the theme of how, you know, love is messy and awful at times, and it can make you feel both the best things in the world, but also the worst possible things in the world. And it really balances those themes incredibly well. It's got 2 amazing performances from, of course, Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet. Just incredible performances that are so emotive and really make you feel things. Like, I really look for movies around this type of year that are going to make me cry, and this is a guaranteed cry movie. By the end of it, you realize that, you know, love is horrible and awful and great at the same time. And even if you know a relationship is doomed, it really hits that theme of it still being worth it, you know, to try and to get out there and still make those connections with people. So I adore this movie. I will be rewatching it very soon. My second pick is The Worst Person in the World. This one hits a lot of themes. Of course, relationships are a pretty big theme of the movie, but it follows a woman in her early to mid 30s from Norway. This is a Norwegian film from Joachim Trier, and this is my first and only film I've seen from him. But this one I also checked out when I got this Criterion release and loved it the same. Like, I really fell in love with this. It hits millennial angst and kind of that feeling that you feel in your late 20s, early 30s really well, where you're kind of just sitting here like, what am I doing with my life? Like, you don't realize, like, I'm in my late 20s, and you really don't realize when you're growing up that, you know, things are going to change and you're going to get older, and the feelings that you get kind of in this pre-midlife crisis are captured so incredibly well. The existential dread crises are explored so well, and then just the connections that we choose to make with people, whether it be romantic or in other senses, are explored just phenomenally here, and I love this film. So The Worst Person in the World is my second pick. Third pick here Past Lives, one of my favorites of recent years. This one I specifically would recommend to people in kind of a love triangle situation, because that is what this movie is about. It's a love triangle. These two main characters here meet as children in South Korea, and they really form a deep emotional connection and bond. They're, I think they're only like 12 or 11 years old when they first meet, so it's not a romantic situation, but it definitely feels like it could be in the future. And then Greta Lee's character moves with her family to Canada, and they get separated. And then fast forward to their mid-20s, they reconnect, but things just never work out. And Greta Lee ends up getting married in America, and Jin-Hoo Lee, I think is his name. I apologize if I got that wrong. His character comes to visit them, and it's really a great movie, especially if you feel like you're the odd person out in a love triangle situation. But really, I think if you're, hopefully you're not in that situation, but if you are at all, you will relate to all of these characters, depending on your own situation, your own vibe. So I really love this one, a phenomenal film. It's simple, it's straight to the point, but it's emotionally hard-hitting, and it definitely delivers. Next pick, a little bit of an odd one here. These are all kind of odd movies, but this one definitely so. Titan, my favorite movie from 2021. I still adore this thing, but I haven't rewatched it in quite a while. This one follows Agatha Roussel, who, her character, I don't want to give up too much information about this. It's a body horror film. It's a emotional drama. It really just explores human connection phenomenally well. I would not call this a romance at all. There's, more about human connection and how humans seek out connections in sometimes odd ways. And this film is very odd. But I think it's a film with love at its core, and it's wrapped up in a odd but phenomenally epic package. And I just adore this film. It's got all kinds of things going on below the surface, and I think it's an absolute must. So if you have not seen this film, you definitely need to watch it. Next pick, this is kind of one of those being grateful for being single movies, and that is Gone Girl. I'm sure most of you have seen this movie, but if you haven't happened to check this one out, this is a must-watch as well. Stars Ben Affleck and Rosamund Pike. And basically, so Rosamund Pike's character goes missing. Ben Affleck's character is her husband. He is a suspect in her disappearance, and it's a great movie that explores, obviously, relationships at their core, and a very, very toxic one at that. But it also explores all kinds of other things, like the media. There's a lot of commentary on media and how the media treats kind of these explosive, interesting cases of, crime. And I think it balances that with the story and the emotions at the heart of it very well. So it's kind of one of those movies that if you want to be grateful for being single, throw this one on. And then my sixth and final pick for single Valentine's Day, anti-Valentine's Day, is Her. Another one of kind of your wallow in sadness movies. Basically, so Joaquin Phoenix, his character falls in love with an AI machine or robot, whatever you want to call it. Has only become more relevant, unfortunately, over the 10 years since it's been released. This movie, I think, came out in 2013, and of course, AI has really kind of exploded in popularity, in usage, in ways that I don't think we quite fully comprehended back in 2013. But this movie really feels ahead of the curve in that sense. I don't know that people are necessarily falling in love with AI at the moment, but it's unfortunately not. It doesn't sound nearly as far-fetched as it once did. And Scarlett Johansson provides the voice for the AI system that Phoenix's character falls in love with. And of course, who wouldn't fall in love with Scarlett Johansson's voice? I mean, come on. But this movie, it does the unthinkable. It really makes you buy into this relationship. You're thinking on paper this is going to be stupid, but it's so good in how it portrays this relationship, and it really makes you feel the emotions, even though half of the relationship is artificial, you know, completely not human whatsoever. So I really adore this one. This is one I revisit quite often, and it's one of my kind of early favorites when I started really discovering cinema and films, and I highly recommend this one as well. So there we go. For my fellow single people out there, 6 movies that you should check out for this anti-Valentine's Day. Personally, I think I'm gonna go out to the movie theater tomorrow night. I'll be the one single person probably in the theater, but I think I'm gonna check out a movie and just kind of vibe and chill and enjoy myself. So hope you guys have a great holiday, however you choose to celebrate it, and hope you enjoyed this video. I hope to be back on the channel more frequently as the Oscars approach. We are now 2 weeks away from the Oscars, I think, so definitely need to get some Oscar content out there. The frustrating thing with the Oscars this year have been the lack of availability for some of these movies. Like, there's, I think, 3 Best Picture nominees that I still need to watch. One of those being The Brutalist, but Nickel Boys is another one I need to see. And these movies have been so hard to come by. If you don't live in a major city where you can go to the theater to see them, it's been very difficult to get your hands on these movies. So I'm frustrated with that. You know, it's been delaying my top 10 movies list and all of these Oscar videos that I would love to put out. So, you know, stay tuned. I will have some Oscar stuff, but it's been a little bit of a slog this year to try to get through. But nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you're looking forward to some content, and hope you have a great Valentine's Day if you're single, or if you're not, if you're in a relationship. I hope it's awesome. But yeah, see you guys later. Bye.